everyone. Chill Girl Chrissy here, Alderman in Ward 6, and I am running for mayor as well of our beautiful Queen City. And I am so, so excited. Today I have the legend, Charlie Sherman, live on Zoom right now. Welcome, Charlie.
Good morning, Chrissy. Good afternoon. Good evening. We're all three.
A little bit of everything. Oh my gosh. It is so great to have you on. And I remember the first time I was on your radio show. So can you share with everyone, the people that may not know you, and well, first of all, we're going to be talking all things chill. We really, really miss Charlie. You know, things were just way better when Charlie was in town. I know I have a lot of people that are agreeing with me.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind.
Well, it's so true. You know, your voice, your kindness, everything that you did with New Horizons. I got involved with all the things that you were doing, you know, with prostate cancer. I mean, there's a whole list of all the things, never mind being a newscaster, radio. I mean, you've done it all, man of many hats. And now you're chilling in Florida.
Trying to.
So
Pretty bored down here.
Oh,
very bored.
Oh my gosh.
Retirement isn't all it's cracked up to be. I'll say that.
It's not. Well,
No.
how about the beard?
Okay, so the beard, because I'm so bored, I needed something to do. So I started to grow a little bit of a beard, and I realized it was pure white. And I said, wow, that's really interesting. And then I have a friend of mine who is Santa Claus in the winter season.
Yeah.
And he turned me on to this movie. It's a documentary that's on HBO Max, if anybody has it, called Santa Camp. And Santa Camp it was a nationally produced documentary about this camp that basically trains Santa Clauses. And the documentary is just fabulous if anybody wants to watch it on HBO Max. And it's filmed in New Hampshire. And it's actually run by a fellow from Manchester, Dan Greenleaf, who is probably the premier Santa Claus probably in the country. And I watched the documentary. My friend Joe went to the Santa camp, and he became a Santa Claus and did very well with it. First of all, you have to really want to do it. You want the personality. You have to like kids, obviously, but you have to want to be able to spread joy and have fun at it. But I wanted to do it right. Yeah. So I said, you know what, if my friend Joe can do it, that'd be something for me to do at least from November through Christmas. Yeah. So I said, I'm going to grow the beard out. I'm going to sign up for Santa Camp, and I'm going to start a business, basically, of Santa Claus. And that's kind of what I'm on my way to doing, and the beard is coming in nicely, and it makes me look about 100 years old. But I hope to be a really good Santa Claus.
Oh my gosh, you're going to be an amazing Santa Claus. Oh my God, that is unbelievable, and I love that.
I'm going to do it not only in Florida, but if I get enough gigs up north, I will spend time up in New Hampshire as well doing it. So if anybody's looking for a Santa Claus during the season, I'm easy enough to get in touch with. Just go to my Facebook page and I'll get back to you. Because I really want to do a lot of it up in New Hampshire as opposed to just Florida, because Florida is not New Hampshire, trust me.
Yeah, no.
I really miss New Hampshire, and I miss the people.
Oh my gosh, well, we miss you, and you know, I was going through. Yeah, we need a lot of joy in New Hampshire. Extra. You know, through these times, these past like 5 years, it's been so much heaviness. And when I ran for office, one of the things I said is we need to bring a lot of joy back to Manchester. And I had no idea about the Santa Claus, and that is unbelievable. I didn't even know there was a Santa Claus camp. That's unbelievable.
It's really a terrific camp. And again, kudos to Dan Greenleaf, because again, if you want to watch the documentary, if you have a couple of hours, I know you don't, but there might be people out there who are interested. Watch this documentary. It's really fantastic. It's so well done. And again, when I saw that it was filmed in New Hampshire, I said, wow, there's even a bigger connection. So it should be a fun Christmas season.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm definitely whatever. I don't know what it looks like, but we're gonna have to have a big event, maybe
All right,
a
I'll be
Christmas
there.
a Christmas chill fest. You know,
Sounds good to me.
which is unbelievable. And Charlie, I can't thank you of all the times that you never said no to me. With the stash dash for prostate cancer. Oh, I'm gonna try not to get emotional. I think it was 2003, 2013. Was it 2013? We did it with my dear friend Kim Cronin, and we did it for
Yeah.
my dad. My dad was here. You never said no. You always have been. You worked with my dad for
Yes.
prostate cancer, ski board and tube. You were always showing up, giving your time, and and then it hit home later on,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
It's it's so ironic. Your dad got me involved. You and your dad, who was a dear friend of mine, who I love dearly and I miss terribly. And I think anybody who knew Jeff misses him terribly. But through your dad, he got me involved in the Prostate Cancer Coalition and did what I could, whether it was an event or promoting it, whether it was on TV or on the radio or whatever, and to show up for some of these events. And I get to learn a lot about prostate cancer, and the message was, don't be embarrassed. It's for men. Get checked.
Yeah,
This is a deadly disease, and it can be if not caught early. And
yeah.
lo and behold, 5 years ago, last month, I happened to go to the doctor. He checked my PSA, and don't you think I ended up with prostate cancer? So fortunately, we caught it early.
Hmm.
And next month, I think in 2 weeks, I have my doctor's appointment with my oncology doctor, and that is my final fifth year appointment. And once I, hopefully, knock on wood,
Yeah.
I'm clear for that appointment. After 5 years, you're declared cancer-free of prostate cancer. So looking forward to 2 weeks from now to see Dr. Saunders, who will give me the clearance, and I'll once again get to ring the bell, which is I got to do after I did my 3 months of radiation. But yeah, it's something that people, men especially, need to do, need to check,
Yeah.
and you need to get checked because if you get it early, then again you'll be fine. Don't
Yeah.
let it go, but don't be embarrassed. It's nothing, the stigma of oh my goodness, I can't talk about that. No,
Yeah.
those days are gone.
Yeah.
Men need to get checked for their prostate. Check your PSA.
Yes, check your PSA. NHPCC, they are going strong. I can't say enough great things
They are
about.
wonderful. They're
Yeah.
a wonderful way they've spread the word, raised awareness, and again, it benefited me personally. Whoever thought by
Yeah.
helping out at some of those events and getting to know some of those fellas that I would be I would be beneficiary of that knowledge that I gained through the Prostate Cancer Coalition.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you're good and you got through it. And it's about knowledging up and
It really is.
not being embarrassed. And early detection is key. It's the most important thing. I was lucky enough. I had my dad for, I always say 17 years, but my amazing stepmother says no, it was 18 years from when he was diagnosed till he passed. But luckily, there's always things coming up and positive attitude, getting rid of the sugar. You can starve cancer. You can make things happen. So check out nhpcc.org. And Chill Cares, we're going to have our Chill Fest again. We always donate. We raise awareness for prostate cancer, but we donate to patients that are going through any kind of cancer because everyone matters. It's just, I remember my dad, his big thing was, what, the pink ribbon. What about the blue ribbon? What about
Blue ribbon.
men? And us women need to speak up for our men, get them to the doctors, remind them, and it's not embarrassing. And when you catch things early, it doesn't complicate things. If you wait, things get complicated.
Yes, they do.
And it's like, you know what? Let's make this a small problem instead of a big problem. So we just got to talk about it. Knowledging up with
Yep.
Charlie and NHPCC. And you know what? I think I just love the fact that you're going to be Santa Claus, you know, spreading joy. the fact that it's out of New Hampshire, the person that created this camp.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my God! And what's the documentary again? It's on HBO
It's
Max.
it's literally just called Santa Camp, and it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
And believe me, it's worth anybody who watches it, and it's worth your time because it follows not just regular Santas, but there's a developmentally disabled kid who wants to be Santa Claus. There's an African American guy who wants to be Santa Claus. So it really, it's broken into different segments, and it's really touching. And to watch these, there's probably 50 people, men and women. There's Mrs. Clauses go there as well, and they cover all of the finer points of, things I never thought of. For example, the young kid sits in your lap, and one of his parents has passed on, and he says, what do you want for Christmas? So I want my mommy back. And they basically help you with what the answers you should be giving are. So there's a lot of different tips that they give you along the way. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh my God, that is so.
August. It's in August for anybody else who wants to be Santa Claus this year.
Okay, so all right. So is there a website?
Yeah, there is a website. I think you just Google Santa Camp, New Hampshire.
Okay, Santa Camp, New Hampshire. We got to spread the joy.
Yep.
I love it. Oh my God, I'm like so excited.
I just bought my Santa suit, and I figured if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah.
I've got $800 into the suit and the boots.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm going to make the investment because I want to do it right.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows that I don't like to do things halfway.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this right, and so I've already invested that much into it. It's another $600 for Santa Camp. So I'll be into this thing for probably $1,500, $2,000 by the time I start. But again, you don't want some guy showing up and has a beard and the kid pulls your beard off and it's not real, or you show up in some cheap, thin material Santa suit. You got to be Santa Claus. You have to mentally prepare yourself that you are Santa Claus.
I love it. The real deal Santa. Santa baby.
Santa baby.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that is so great. Oh my gosh. And so not only bringing the joy, but with a caring heart, and how to share messaging with things that are really, really hard. I mean, like, this is, you lose parents, you have tragic accidents, things like that. How do you get through trauma?
Right.
It's like, what do you say? Sometimes I'm like, I have no words to say. I just want to hug the person. Yep. And, my gosh. Well, I hope, Charlie, you're going to be a regular on my Chill and Heal show.
I hope so. I'm happy. I have nothing else to do. Like I said, I'm pretty bored down here. Part of the problem being retired, Chrissy, I have no hobbies. My hobby was always working. I love to work or do things in the community, for charitable endeavors or whatever. Yeah. So I came down here, and I met a lot of people, particularly through my wife, their husbands, and they said, "Hey, Charlie, we play darts on Tuesdays. I don't play darts. We play pool on Wednesdays. I don't play pool. Well, we do horseshoe and bocce on Thursday. No, I don't do that either. We play poker on Tuesday. No, I don't do that. What do you do?" I said, "I do nothing. I play golf once a week on Fridays, and I hate it. I mean, I literally hate the game. It's stupid, but I do it because it gets me out of the house one day a week to do something and to be sociable a little bit. But other than that, I have zero hobbies, and I'm bored most of the time. My hobbies are smoking cigars, which I know is bad for you. People say that's bad for it. But I have all my New Hampshire pals fly down, and one after the other, they come down, they spend time, and we sit and chew the fat and smoke cigars, and maybe go to a ball game down in Tampa or something. But other than that, Michelle every so often will say, "Can you take a break of having your cigar smoking pals come down and make a mess of the house?"
She needs to chill too.
That's for sure.
Oh my God, I can understand a little bit.
Yeah.
Boys will be boys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, it's so good. Well, you know what? I feel like you've been digging deep for so many years, and your hobbies are really getting into making things happen in your community. and
Yeah.
your community, it's like you're making it there, but it's like really you're rooted in New Hampshire. And I just want to talk about some of the work, your
Sure.
radio, TV. I mean, you showed up to every single thing I ever asked, I just, he was just a phone call away and he would show up, always get the party started, you brought it. You brought the energy, the goodness. Our first, after my dad passed away, we started Giddy Up for prostate cancer,
Yeah. I
at
remember.
Stark Brewery. And where Peter would always host this, our stash dash for so many years, but then that got unaffordable. We couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford the police detail. They were changing things in the city, so we couldn't do the stash dash anymore. So that was sad. But from the Giddy Up, and then let's jump over to what's happening in Manchester too with the homeless crisis, which is actually, it's not a homeless crisis, it's a mental health crisis, drug addiction, health, and behavioral. And I talk to people that are in the field, and people are suffering. We need real hope. And Charlie, I keep putting you on this pedestal because
Yeah.
I went to
Don't
it's just,
do that.
well, you know what I
My
mean.
wife will knock.
You,
My wife will knock me right down.
all right. Well, you know what? That's what us women are supposed to do in a good way. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
hear
it's like one of those things. Like, my dad dragged me off to your New Horizon breakfast,
you. Yes.
and sometimes we're in the motion of getting stuff done. We're business. We're moms. We're dads. We're going, going, going. And he's like, "No, this is important, Chrissy."
Okay.
So I was blown away by your Thanksgiving New Horizon breakfast, and then your walk for hunger, you know. And then I went down to the shelter and got involved and saw what you were doing. And then there was this amazing greenhouse. Can I know we have like about 10, 15 minutes left, but, from all of that, which, you get people involved, but how do we spend our money is really, really important. And how do we create real hope without enabling and keeping people in a stuck situation, which I feel we're stuck.
Yeah. It's as you said, it's a hard one to solve. When I was running New Horizons for the 6 years that I was there, what I discovered, there were basically three categories of people. You have the mental health issues, which is a big part of it. You have the drug situation, but then you also have the people who are there because they've really hit hard times,
Yeah.
and they don't want to be there, and they want to get out of there. And one of the areas that we really worked hard on with my staff was trying to help everybody. We had a requirement that if you were staying in New Horizons, that you needed to meet with a case manager, and the case manager's job was, if you were in the third category of trying to just get out of there and find work or better yourself, the case manager would help you do that. If you were drug and alcohol, they worked with you there, getting you help. We worked with the Mental Health Center of Greater Manchester. We worked with healthcare for the homeless, and the other one was the mental health, and that's a tough one. Again, we work closely with Greater Manchester, the Mental Health Center of Greater Manchester, and we work closely with them. But it's a tough situation. The situation that to me was the hardest was we wanted to make sure we kept it to local people.
Mm-hmm.
We only had enough facilities at the time for 115, 130 people to stay in the shelter. And I've said this a couple of times and probably could have gotten in trouble for it, but if somebody showed up at our door and they were from Lowell or Lawrence or wherever else, we did our best to discourage them from staying at New Horizons. We didn't want to be a latchkey for everybody from other communities, and I know that's a touchy situation. Excuse me. When I left New Horizons and continued to follow the homeless situation even after I retired, there were a couple of things that happened in the city that were so detrimental to this whole homeless situation. One of them was when they opened up across from the Armory that camp and staffed it with police 24 hours a day and food provided twice a day from the food bank and showers and toilet facilities. And what that did was it drew in people from other communities. The homeless community, there's a tight telephone line there where people say, hey, come on, we've got a great situation. It's safe. There's police here that they're feeding us. You can take a shower. We can leave during the day and wander around, then come back here at night. What a great situation. Well, as I was saying at the time to a few people, the problem with that is once you decide you're going to close that up, those people aren't going back to where they came from. And that started the influx of homeless to Manchester who weren't from Manchester.
Yeah.
Then the camping outside of New Horizons, which became Families in Transition, which is a whole other story, which we don't have time for right now, as far as some of my thoughts and all of that. But to allow the camping to go on the sidewalks, it was just, to me, it was ludicrous that it was allowed, that you couldn't even walk down Manchester Street. And, and then the taking away the greenhouse, again, which is a whole other story, to take this, what I thought was a beautiful thing, in addition to the community, and make it into a mud lot, which I still don't get to this day. What's the purpose of having this lot that's just a mud puddle? So, I mean, some of those situations, and I know now they have the center on Maple Street. Is it Maple Street? The homeless day center?
Beach Street. The engagement center. And
the engagement center.
Yeah.
Which, again, it can serve a purpose, but it's... I was always totally against enabling.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot of organizations that said, we're going to put these packs together, backpacks with blankets and gloves and socks, and I used to say to them, more importantly, get them into our shelter, bring them in so we can help these people. Don't enable them by giving them things that's going to make them more comfortable to sleep out in the street or to sleep out in the woods. Again, some of those are my opinions. I'm not an expert, but I did deal with the whole situation for 6 years, and believe me, the education that I received, I couldn't have gotten in any college anywhere else. So, I mean, it's a really tough, complicated situation, but to me, the worst thing you could do is open the floodgates and say to people, come on into Manchester, there's all kinds of services, and nobody's going to bother you, and you'll be safe, and you can eat, and that's a bad situation. And that's, I think, why the homeless situation in Manchester got to the level that it has been the past year or two.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people from other communities, out of state, that have,
there's enough in
build
Manchester
it and they will
to take
come.
care of.
Yeah.
You don't need to take care of other communities. You go to other communities, even in the state, and this was always a tough situation for us to deal with. You go to communities like Concord, like Laconia, like Berlin, wherever it might be. They don't have full facilities that are, they're 12 months a year, every day of the week. They have, some of them will have seasonal facilities, and then they close those seasonal facilities. Manchester is there providing all of these services that other communities. I can remember calling up welfare directors in other communities and saying, listen, it's your job to take care of people in your own community. Do not send them to New Horizons. I have nowhere to put them. Yeah. And we would put them in a cab and send some of these people back to the communities they came from. It was a tough thing to do, but it was best for everybody. We only could, like I said, we could handle 115, 130 people. I don't know how many people they're handling now between was it 1265 Cafe or whatever it is?
1269 Cafe.
1269. So you have a facility there. You have Families in Transition, formerly New Horizons. You have the facility that the city is paying these hundreds of thousands of dollars of, I don't know, it's taxpayers' money or something, that is also providing overnight services and day services. Like, how many more places do you need? The point is to have fewer, not more.
Yes, exactly. Every community needs to take care of their own. I think it's just so important. And what I loved about what you would do is you're building community and building self-worth with the greenhouse, where people felt good going in and growing their own food and being a part of the beautiful, garden. Um, and what happened to that? We need to help create, we need to lift people up and help create self-worth. And that's what I saw you doing firsthand.
That was one of the things I was personally most proud of, is putting up that greenhouse. One, it cleaned up the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much money I spent on a fence and raising money to put up this beautiful fence, not just a chain link fence, but this beautiful black wrought iron fence all the way around the facility. That was the first thing. Putting planters outside along the fence with flowers.
Yeah.
The greenhouse itself was all volunteer run. It didn't cost anybody a penny. It was volunteer run. The programs where we put on for school kids to come in and grow their own and teach them how to plant and teach them how to grow not just fruit and vegetables, but flowers as well.
Yeah.
The programs that we had in there. And then, of course, the caveat was everything we grew there, we brought into the soup kitchen and the food pantry to distribute to members of the community. There were no negatives to that. And the greenhouse was donated by Rimall Greenhouses of Hooksett. So there was no cost to anybody for anything. And then all of a sudden, one day I'm in Manchester and I drive by and I see the lot's empty. And I started asking around, like, what happened to my pride and joy of this greenhouse?
Yeah.
I was almost in tears. And to this day, Chrissy, I don't know where it is or what happened to it.
Oh my God. And so that's the big question. I know that we have 1 minute to wrap up, Charlie. Where is the greenhouse? We need to bring back the greenhouse. And check out Charlie Sherman. You can find him on Facebook. And Santa Camp in New Hampshire. Charlie, you are the best. And much love to Michelle. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Chrissy. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And where is the greenhouse? We need to bring joy and bring some joy to Charlie and Manchester. So until next time, stay chill and let's ask, where is the greenhouse?